Drew, and welcome to the very important podcast, the podcast that doesn't stink, brought to you by Eric V.I.P. Pre-poop toilet spray for very important poopers. All you got to do is spray the surface of the water 3 times before you go, and that's all you need to do to just keep all the odor trapped inside the bowl. My guest this week, I'm pretty excited, and I think you're going to be excited, because in stall number 2, we are joined by Brittany, who is going to teach us a little bit about how not to stink at dating. Brittany, how are you?
Hey, Drew, I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Hey, no problem. Thanks for coming over to this bathroom that we record the podcast at.
My pleasure, really.
Okay, so let's say this basic bare bones. How do you, if someone says, I stink at dating, what would you say to them how to say, like, this is how you don't stink at dating? Is there
Sure.
any simple rules that you can follow?
Well, I think the biggest thing our society's facing right now is that everyone's online dating. Everyone's meeting
Right.
on apps, on websites.
Right.
And it's really difficult for some people to then transfer into when you finally organically meet someone on a first date.
Oh, yeah.
And so you really want to set yourself up for success by being really honest, authentic, and genuine to yourself on those online apps so that you can then feel free and comfortable going into a first date, knowing that you didn't just kind of paint a house of cards for yourself. So I
Got
would
it.
say that's number one on how to not stink at dating.
Right. So if you're doing like an online, I think I've seen this a lot. Like people online, they'll put a facade out there, kind of like that they're more perfect than they actually are. They kind of are like, hey, my poop doesn't smell. It's kind of what they actually think about, or that's kind of what they present. And then you meet them, and it's like, well, you're human.
All
These
poop
things,
smells.
all poop smells.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, so like. That's just the way it is, But so you think that the main thing is just make yourself relatable on these apps. Is that right?
Just being really genuine and authentic to yourself. And
Okay.
then also when you go on a first date, not being afraid to be vulnerable and
Oh, man.
put yourself out there and be honest and kind of delve a little bit below surface level if you can. I know it's hard on a first date, but those are really the first dates that actually stand out, and you really can tell if you have a potential romantic connection with somebody.
Yeah, but that's hard, right? That's hard to be open and honest on the first date. Like I've always got a guard up. I mean, even right now we're talking, and I'm way more comfortable because there is a physical wall in between the two of us. Like whenever I meet new people, I'm always like, I put a guard up, much like the wall of this stall in between us.
Oh, man.
Do you have like good advice about how to like break down those walls, how to be more open and honest?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I'm all actually about before the first date having kind of your ritual, whether it's putting on your favorite song and doing a silly dance, or calling your mom and getting a pep talk from her, or, having a glass of red wine. We're all human, it's fine.
Oh, yeah.
Just something along those lines, just to get you into a really good, positive, upbeat mindset so that you're kind of carrying that into the first date. I also always think get there early. There's no worse pressure than when you're running late.
Oh, God, yeah.
And, I mean, just since we're here and maybe I'm being inspired, go to the bathroom before you go on your first date.
That honestly, that is a very good advice.
Yeah.
I feel like the worst, my worst nightmare is running late to a first date and having to poop.
Oh, it's
Like,
a terrible
I
combination.
mean, I'm sweating in more ways than one. Like I'm sweating naturally and unnaturally the entire time.
Don't
Like,
do that
oh,
to
God.
yourself.
Okay, so yeah, be prepared. Get there on time, and yeah, use the restroom before you actually meet up with someone. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, these are basics, really. But sometimes people need good reminders of these things.
Yeah,
That's what I'm here for.
I guess like the worst thing that the start of the date off wrong would be like, "Hi, my name is Drew. I gotta pee." Like that would be the worst thing. The first thing to come out of my mouth that'd be awful. That would just be a devastating blow.
It would not be the best first impression. I'll give you that. Would be memorable though.
Would be, and that's at the end of the day, you said be honest. So if that's what it is like, "Hi, my name's Drew. I need to poop." Like that's the most honest I could probably be, but that's not going to be a good first impression, is what you're saying.
Correct. We don't
Okay.
need to be that honest. Let's reel it back a little bit. Save something for the second date, shall we?
No, there we go. Yeah. So yeah, hi, we had a great first date. My name is Drew. I have to poop again. That would be a bad thing to say for the second date as well.
Yes, it would.
All right. So now that now this is just the thing that's like popping in my head, and I think it largely has to do with the fact that we are both sitting in the bathroom right now. But in terms of dating, like even beyond that first date, like trying to maintain a healthy relationship, when do you think it's appropriate to actually like go to the bathroom with the door open, or is that a thing that is only like married couples only, or like just things that happen in movies about 40-year-old couples that they get mad at each other for doing? Like, when is that something that like is appropriate to do?
Yeah, I mean, you know what? I actually don't think you have to wait until you're married to do that.
Wow.
Listen, I think that, I mean, think about it. After you start dating with someone for a while, when you have your first sleepover and you wake up at your significant other's home,
Yeah.
you're going to use the bathroom.
I mean, yeah, or you could hold it and just be very uncomfortable for like 24 hours.
Right. Your stomach starts growling. You drink coffee. It's a mess. You
Yeah.
get out of there then.
Yeah.
Don't you dare get sucked into a brunch if that's what's happening.
Well, oftentimes I'll get sucked. I would say like I want to get sucked into a brunch so I could use that bathroom, and then be like, you won't believe what happened in there. You know, that was just something that I don't blame myself then. You know,
Okay.
it's an easy.
Yeah, touche.
Touche.
But I think with this one, you know, you do baby steps. You, you know, you'll pee with the door open. You'll pee with the door open and start conversation and see if they reciprocate. And
Got
then,
it.
as far as you know, next step would be pooping with the door open.
That's a huge step.
It's a big one.
That's a big step. Because that's I mean, we're
That's
speaking
intimate.
about vulnerability. That's intimate almost. Like, yeah, I would say that's one of the most intimate things that you could probably do is defecate while talking, you know?
Right. Well, that would be the next. Defecate first. No need to talk, and then if it moves to talking, then that's fine.
Yeah.
But you know, it's a case by case basis. Of course, it depends on comfortability with the couple. But yeah, I think those are fine baby steps to have in a relationship. You don't have to wait until you're married. I don't think you should. What if you don't like that about that person? You should probably know that before you get married.
Okay, so you think like bathroom behavior is something that should be discussed before taking the next big step? I mean, I guess probably before you move in together, right? That would be a big thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, you know, when you're dating, again, you'll have sleepovers, you'll have long weekends, you'll have trips together. This kind of
Right.
stuff, as that builds, this is just inevitably going to happen. So it's kind of cool to see, I guess, how each couple rolls with it.
Right.
In that case. And then, yeah, I think this all happens actually before you move in together.
Interesting. Now let me ask you this. Let's say you're going on a date, maybe your first weekend away, you know, with your significant other. You guys have been getting along great. You've been having a good time. You haven't really crossed that threshold, right, about opening a bathroom door. You get to the hotel, and it's one of those fancy new hotels that just has a glass door and a glass wall. Have you ever been in one of those hotels?
Oh, yes, I love those.
You love those. See, I think they're
All about
interesting. But I instantly had a panic attack when I saw one because like it'd be like, oh, that is a part, like this is the first time we're going out, we're just exploring the world together. And then the first thing we do when we arrive at this hotel is we poop in front of each other. It seems so intimate, so forcefully. I feel like those hotels should apologize to me a little bit.
You know, I mean, again, this kind of situation, this almost forces you guys, like you said, into just having this conversation
Right.
and making it very lighthearted and funny, because it is,
Yeah.
and bringing sense of humor into the situation. Just being like, you're human, I'm human, I like you like me, and we all poop.
Yeah, just remember, it's so funny that like you spend most of your time as a child learning that everybody poops. And then you kind of forget that when you hit puberty, and then you have to remind yourself that everybody poops when you get older.
Right, this really has only become a problem as we grow up in age.
Yeah, that is fascinating. Oh, okay, we got someone coming into the bathroom right now. So let's say I was going to go on a date with that guy. Okay, well, I guess rewind it a little bit. Okay, yeah, because I do think it is fascinating. It's just comfortability, and it is just seeing each other as humans. That's kind of one of your big things, is like reminding each other of our humanity? Is that a big part of it?
Oh my goodness, I mean, that was beautifully put. I should probably put that right on my business card. I liked that.
You can just scrawl it on the walls in these bathrooms if you want to. You can write it wherever you
I
want.
really should, if only I had a pen. But yeah, I mean, even in that case, you know, say you're in a hotel and you even say, hey, funny thing, but I have to poop now. Why don't you go, like, you know, on a walk or grab us coffees or something? If you're not ready to actually, like, share that experience between
Right.
the glass door, that's totally fine. But, you know, just acknowledging it, because honestly, at the end of the day, you're both thinking it.
Right.
Someone just has to make the first move and bring it up.
Got it. So, so it's a lot of like not keeping secrets is probably a big part of it as well. Then, right? Is like being just open and honest. Don't keep any secrets. Just tell your partner how you're feeling.
Right. I mean, if you can't even tell your partner that you have to poop, who knows what other secrets you could be keeping from them?
Yeah.
This is an easy one.
That's a very good point. That's an absolutely very good point. So
we just got real deep on that.
Yeah, we got real deep. I mean, there's nothing like getting deep while just sitting and pondering to yourself after sitting on a toilet for over 10 minutes. I feel like that's where I do my best thinking.
Yep.
And honestly, it's great conversation as well.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you this. So, do you think like online dating, if we're going to do some online dating, how long do you text back and forth before you take the plunge? Like we're sitting on toilets before you take that plunge. When is the time to actually go out on that date?
Oh, I'm a big fan of having as little back and forth as possible.
Wow.
Oh yeah, I think that's a twofold reason. One, people lose interest and have a bunch of other people messaging them.
Right.
You just want to get to the date too. I think a lot of people try to force that back and forth to try to show their personality, their sense of humor,
Right.
when really you would be doing such a better job in person, just getting to know each other that way. And I think sometimes people do that also just to suss out if this person is even worth meeting in person.
Right.
And it's just, honestly, the in-person, intangible qualities and energy that you get is going to be vastly different from this messaging back and forth with a pretty much total stranger. So I say get to the first date as soon as possible.
Get to the first date. That makes a lot of sense to me. Because the second you see someone, instantly you know if you get along with them or not. There is like that weird intangible quality that you just talked about.
Oh, right. You get to, you know within the first 5 minutes.
That is fascinating. Yeah. Now, let me ask you this then. Back in my dating days, there would be times where I would go on a first date and instantly I knew this was a bad connection. If you're in a situation like that, what do you do?
So you want to be as kind as possible. Listen, a first date should just be drinks. So what's the worst if you spend an hour and a half, grab 2 drinks with somebody?
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think there needs to be a huge, like, oh, I'm not feeling this connection, like, I need to go. I don't think that needs to happen. Say at the end of the first date, if she's like, hey, like, I would love to see you again or something, then I think that's okay just to be like, hey, I think you're great, and I had fun. I just don't see this going anywhere. I
Right.
think that's so much better than being like, oh, yeah, sure, I'll call you next week, and then you never do.
Yeah.
So I think it's totally fine to just, like, have a pleasant hour and a half of drinks. And that's why also first dates should always just be that. Like, never a dinner. Don't get yourself stuck in a dinner for a first date or anything.
Oh, great.
Yeah, don't do that to yourself either.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, you don't want to spend that much money if immediately you're like, this is not good. Just drinks. It's casual. It's nice. It's fun.
Exactly.
So you're saying like be open and honest even in the rejection. That's a big thing. It always comes back to honesty in a very interesting way.
Yeah, I just think that's the right thing to do. Hopefully it will help you sleep at night. And it also just lets that person know, even if it's like hurtful at the time, to not waste their time or energy on this.
So a bad solution would be, oh, this date isn't going well. Say, I got to go to the bathroom and then run away. That's a bad idea because that's kind of what I'm doing right now. I've ran away from a lot of my responsibilities and I'm just sitting on a toilet.
It's a very rom-com approach. I'll give it that.
Well, Brittany, I just want to thank you so much for coming into Stall number 2 to talk about dating a little bit.
Thank you, Drew. It was a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure. I mean, we really got down into it.
We really did.
We got into
Down
the
and
poop.
dirty.
You're
Down
down
and
and dirty like you do in a bathroom. Well, thank you so much for coming. This has been the Very Important Podcast. Go out there, be honest with each other, and hey, use the bathroom and tell people you need to use a bathroom.
Very Important Podcast. The podcast that doesn't stink.
You know him. You love him. He's a martial arts guy. Oh, God.